Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to have the opportunity to be together to celebrate Smachot. Mazel Tov to the entire Borsi Meisinger families. So nice to have this Simcha, to be together. And Mazel Tov to Josh Mills on his birthday. And it's good to be together on a Shabbat like this, where we really need to be in community. About a week and a half ago, we had my favorite holiday of the year. Shavuot. I kind of gave it away with the week and a half ago. And it has my favorite ritual of the year, which is all that, whatever you said. The Tikkun Leil Shavuot, where you stay up all night studying Torah. And then in the morning, we take the Torah, we read the Ten Commandments, and we are enthralled, captivated as we read it in front of the sunrise. We're a little tired, but it's a mystical, magical moment. We don't just learn, which of course I love, but we have sessions ranging from yoga to meditation, cooking classes, and a kumsitz bonfire. In case you're wondering, you should all come, everyone. I've been working with a group of Christian leaders, and I described it to them, and they're all coming next year. So I expect our community to step it up a little bit. On that night, after a pretty lively Ask the Rabbi session for teens and college-age students, where we discussed theology and Israel and all kinds of topics related to that, and of course, one of my other favorites, the midnight basketball. We do have midnight outdoor basketball. It was about 2 a.m., and I sat down with a couple of teens with chips and guac. And we started discussing a little bit about Jewish identity and anti-Semitism. I shared a little bit about my experience wearing a kippah in public, and I asked them, what Jewish symbols do they feel comfortable with in public? A little late, one student said, a bagel. They felt comfortable eating a bagel. And then more seriously, one student took out a Magen David, a necklace with the Star of David. Now, before the Magen David was on flags and in synagogues, before it became a symbol of both Jewish vulnerability and Jewish pride, before it became the emblem of the modern state of Israel, which we are praying for during this challenging time, there was a different symbol, a more ancient symbol. There was the Menorah, etched into ancient coins, carved into the Arch of Titus, lit in the temple in Jerusalem. It was the symbol of the Jewish people. So my question for this morning is, how did the menorah become sidelined? And what would it mean to bring back its light back into the center? Not just in memory, but in how we live. Now this week's Parashat, Beha'alotkha, opens with the menorah, opens with light. Daber al Aaron ve'amarta elav Beha'alotkha tanerot el mul pnei menorah yair shivat tanerot. God says to Moshe, speak to Aaron and say to him, when you raise up the lights, the 7 lamps shall shine towards the center of the menorah. Now Rashi picks up on this very interesting verb, Beha'alotkha, when you raise up the lights. Rashi asks, why not say something simple like lehadlik, when you light? And Rashi says, because the flame must be kindled until it rises me'eleha, until it rises on its own. Now, it's a kind of small detail, but I think it holds a pretty profound truth. We learn that we should nurture a flame until it can stand on its own. And of course, we do this whenever we light one. We need to light a flame that endures. And that's what the menorah symbolizes. And of course, it's nice that it's our logo of our community. It symbolizes something of meaning, not pageantry, not performance, but slow, deliberate, sustaining light. A light turned inward and then outward. Now let's compare that a little bit with the Magen David. Unlike the menorah, it doesn't appear in the Torah, or in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible, or in the Talmud. It emerges centuries later as a decorative motif that you find in different places. In the Middle Ages, it becomes kind of picked up by mystical and magical circles. By the 17th and 18th centuries, it appears on synagogue walls, just like ours. By the 19th century, it becomes the symbol of Jewish nationalism. And of course, Herzl puts it on his book. And in the 20th century, it becomes a symbol both used against us, think of the Nazis, and it becomes our badge of honor, our brand. The Star of David is burned into our memories on yellow stars, on armbands, and of course on the other side on uniforms. And it's raised up. It's lifted up on the flag of Israel, in our synagogues again, and in our hearts. It is a very proud symbol. It says, I am here. I am a Jew. But the menorah is kind of asking a little bit of a different question. What kind of light are you bringing? Now, sometimes you really need the Magen David, which means the shield of David. And that's why Israel named one of its anti-missile systems, right, David's sling, right? That idea of David, right, shooting something to protect us. We need that, especially at a moment like this. It says loudly again, I am here. I will not be erased. I will be defended. But of course, over the course of a lifetime, we need something deeper. We need the menorah. We need to tend to that fire, to ask, is my light steady? Can my flame rise up on its own? Can it illuminate something deeper? Can it sustain me in this turbulent world? How can it give me strength, inner strength, that we so desperately need? Now, it's interesting, if you think about the menorah, it was not outside of the Mishkan, the portable sanctuary the Israelites wandered with for 40 years, going from Egypt to Israel. But it was in the very middle, in the sacred interior. It was made of one piece of solid gold. Miksha achat, as the Torah says. No part of it was detachable. No branch of the seven was independent. Each light faced the center, suggested a unity that is rooted in an inner focus, not outer symmetry. Maybe that's the wisdom that we need now and maybe all the time. Purpose, inner strength. Jewish life isn't just about signaling our identity to the outside world, which I certainly still intend on doing. But Jewish life is also about kindling holiness on the inside. There were two designers who were given the task of designing the modern logo of the state of Israel when the state was being born. It was Gabriel and Maxim Shamir. Good name. They designed this seal, and they based it on the exact menorah that was taken from the temple by the Romans 2,000 years ago and is on the Arch of Titus. They transformed a symbol that then had become one of subjugation into one of sovereignty. But they did something nuanced that they added. They added 2 olive branches. They added symbols of peace. Even now, or maybe especially now, we never lose hope. We never lose sight of peace. Sfat Emet, the Ger Rabbi, teaches, quote, that the menorah is a symbol of the inner light of the people of Israel. And when Aaron lights it, he draws forth the divine spark that's hidden in each person. Lighting the menorah, he says, is about awakening the neshama, your very soul. Now, the Midrash in Bamidbar Rabbah gives voice to God and says, quote, I do not need the light of flesh and blood, but I want you to light me a lamp, just as I lit lamps for you. Now, this is a beautiful poetic line. It's not just divine poetry. It's about partnership. It's about one of the answers to Harvey's really important question that he asked at the end of his Dvar Torah. God can light our way with Torah, and then we light God's house with our deeds, with our prayers, with our compassion and actions. That's the work, not just to shine forth, but to really illuminate. To illuminate a path towards inner peace and then outer peace. Now notice, God doesn't tell Moses to light the lights. God tells Aaron, the Kohen, to light the lights. Aaron, the one who lifts others up, the one who nurtures holiness, the one who helps other people's flames rise. That's our role too, to be light bringers, to be ones who kindle souls, to hold each other's sparks until they stand on their own, especially now. Jewish resilience is not just defiance, it's a kind of radiance. The world needs our radiance, not an arrogance, not silence. It needs our radiance. It needs an unyielding, rooted light, a light that points us to a better tomorrow for all. When we get a little tired, which I imagine can happen, certainly happens sometimes for me, when that flame flickers a little bit, the menorah reminds us you're not alone. You are one branch of something whole, something ancient. Your light joins others, and all of them face the center. It wasn't the Star of David on the Arch of Titus. It was the menorah, carried away in conquest. But 2,000 years later, we're still lighting it. Every Hanukkah, every time we read Parashat Beha'alotkha, every time we help someone else's flame rise. So raise the light, the Torah teaches, not just so it glows, but so it rises, so it endures, so it changes the world. Shabbat Shalom.